if you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody who do you want. Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah.
We got it for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling, dealing.
Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Talkin in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast where we talk about the promo. We concentrate on the promo. We don't talk about we don't just do show reviews and Raw reviews and Dynamite reviews. No. We're going to talk about the promo most of the time. Tonight, we may do it a little bit different, but before we get into that, I got to throw the shout out to down the street, not too far from here, Adrian and his University of Georgia Bulldogs shirt.
What up, man?
Right here in Atlanta. What's going on, Adrian?
Good, man. Good to see you, man.
And then my other co-host on the other side, all the way on from the West Coast, for the City of Angels, home of Shohei Ohtani, and they stole Freddie Freeman, or just kind of bought him, really. Let's call it what it is. Hey, out of lead. What's going on, man?
Oh, living it up, man. It's I can't complain. It's an embarrassment of riches in pro wrestling right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. So talking about that, so here we are. The fall is coming upon us. So one of the things we like to do, y'all, we like to vary it up some. And so we have this little series we do called the Rushmores of Wrestling. Not the traditional who's the greatest of all time, who's the best tag team, and all that kind of crap. No, we like to find our own little four of niche pieces, right? So you go back in our archives, you'll see some. We did what we felt like were the Rushmores of WrestleMania matches and things to that effect. So today, I was thinking about, this time of year, when I was a kid, I'm a little bit older than y'all, I had those Saturday morning cartoons. And every fall, you had those new cartoons coming in on Saturday mornings. And I started thinking about characters and what those cartoons were. You always had your staple of, Bugs Bunny and Coyote, Looney Tunes, Porky Pig, all of them, right? That's your staple. But then that's where I became a fan of the Smurfs. I loved the Smurfs when I was a kid. So even right now, I got a Smurf sitting right here.
Nice.
He's from Burger King. Not long ago, Burger King had a little kids meal. It popped up on my Instagram and said, "We're having Smurf kids meals." And I got up, no lie, that moment said, "I'll be back." And I went and got a Smurf kids meal because I gotta have Vanity Smurf.
Nice.
If you know, you know. And so yeah, I love the Smurfs. That was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon. But I don't know if you guys had Saturday morning cartoons. So Adelie, did you enjoy cartoons at all? And if so, what characters were your favorites?
Did I? I mean, geez, look at the poster.
Right.
and that we're gonna preview a little bit over there.
Nice,
anyway,
nice.
It's the background of my childhood. I mean, there's literally a picture of me as a toddler sitting in front of a chair watching. I know exactly what I was watching, and it's not in the picture. I was watching DuckTales, the OG DuckTales.
Nice.
But I can go back to that lineup. I mean, we're talking about the Disney lineup, DuckTales. Later on, Darkwing Duck. I really like ducks, apparently. And then, you naturally dovetail into the X-Men, which were in Saturday morning anymore, but they were afternoon shows. But for me, they were the same. I will forever dislike O.J. Simpson, not for the reasons you think, because in LA, and I don't know if maybe this is countrywide, he preempted our afternoon after school cartoons because of the trial.
That checks out. Yeah, that checks out.
So here I was trying to watch my afternoon cartoons, and they didn't exactly get the fair shake. So, but no, I have real fond memories of all the Disney cartoons and Saturday morning, which is actually plays an important role in my fandom of wrestling because I didn't have cable growing up when I was younger. My cousins eventually got it, and I got back into it. But Saturday morning, they would do WWF on Saturdays on free TV, and that's what got me in. I was 6 years old, and I saw all the superstars on it, and I was like, I didn't get it, but I knew I liked the dudes because he looked like cartoon characters.
That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Adrian, what about you? Your favorite cartoon characters?
Man, Saturday morning cartoons definitely a huge part of my childhood. I would definitely say Ghostbusters was always like top tier for me as a kid. I do remember the era of Fox Kids and stuff at that point because, Batman the Animated Series still holds up to this day. And I still go back and watch episodes of that. And of course, like Adelie, we're X-Men babies all the way. Like, we knew nothing more. I mean, it was X-Men. It was like, this is cinema. When we were kids, we're just like, we gotta watch and see what happens and all of that stuff. But it's crazy to think how many different Saturday morning cartoons there were, how many bizarre, random, weird cartoon iterations coming from adult movies and stuff, which I do want to at least tell this little story. I don't know if y'all remember, Fox Kids had a cartoon that was the Toxic Crusaders.
Yes.
Super weird animation, very colorful and all of that. And as a kid who's always been into art, to this day, I'm still into art. I just love the character designs and all of that stuff. I could never tell you what that show is about or that cartoon, but I just remember how cool it looked in the animation and all of that stuff. Fast forward, as a child, I'm probably like 6 at this point or 7, go to Blockbuster with my mom. And we're just looking. I would get the video game and I wanted to look and see what movies they had out. Maybe my mom was spending a little bit more time looking through movie options. I walk by, I see the Toxic Avenger film. And I'm like, that's Toxie from the cartoon. I pick it up. I'm like, Mom, this Toxic Avenger, I want to see it. And my mom's like, yeah, sure, cool. Rock and roll.
Oh, no.
Fast forward to putting in that cassette tape in my parents' bedroom, because I know I wasn't in the living room. I was in their bedroom. I pop it in. First time young Adrian sees a naked woman. First time Adrian sees, a guy in a tutu, a man in a tutu being called certain things. And first time Adrian sees a kid get his head ran over. And all of this, I don't want to be trauma unloading, but I thought it was cool. I thought the shit was cool. And I remember cutting the volume down like, I'm still going to keep watching this, even though it's nothing like the cartoon. I even remember inviting my little cousin over to watch it because I'm like, dude, watch this before the 3 days are up. I want to say Blockbuster was like 3 days or something, but I didn't tell my mom this story until like this week. We were talking about the Toxic Avenger movie.
No.
And she's just trashing it, like saying, I remember I saw it. I saw it recently, and it's ridiculous how they did all this and that and this. I was like, yeah, dude, you remember when I saw it as a 6-year-old? And she was like, what? Who the hell would let you do that? I was like, you.
Oh, no.
And she was like, what are you saying? I was like, to be honest, Mom, I thought it was like the cartoon, so it's not your fault. Even though it's rated R and Blockbuster didn't clearly, they were like, yeah, give this kid Toxic Avenger. But yeah, shout out to Trauma Films.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious.
man.
That's hilarious. But man, I love going down that whole. You talk about different people who had cartoons, and if you go out and look, Hammer had a cartoon.
Yep, Hammerman.
Mr. T had a cartoon.
Yeah.
Kid and Play had a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like Punky Brewster. I kind of went online earlier today to look at just what random cartoons were out there. It's just wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you remember, they bring out a cartoon on Saturday mornings, and I swear by the time you went to the grocery store, they had a cereal.
That's it. Yep.
Everybody
Or
had
some
a cereal.
toys.
Oh yeah, and some toys, for sure. And most of those cartoons only lasted one season.
That's it. made
Hey,
just to sell some toys or candy or
they
any
made
of
their
that.
bank and they got out.
Yep.
But so how are we gonna tie this in? I know everybody's like, y'all talk about cartoons and all that, but what we want to do today is kind of bring our Rushmore of characters to us. So we thought about, our Saturday morning characters, and I was the Smurfs and things like that. But now let's bring our Rushmores of characters. So this is how this works, y'all. Each of us brings one, and they go on the Mount Rushmore. No debate. We may talk about them,
Right.
but no debate. They go on our Mount Rushmore. But we got to debate the fourth one. So we bring one more just in case. All right, who are we going to bring? So, Adrian, I'm going to come to you first.
Okay.
Who goes on your Mount Rushmore of characters?
Okay, this is an easy choice for me, and I almost wanted to cheat and save him to backdoor and it's definitely a win. But Macho Man Randy Savage, he's got to be on the Mount Rushmore of characters in wrestling, not just visually because his his visuals are crazy, but his promo is ridiculous, and just his character iterations were always some of our favorites. Like you're going from Macho Man old school, cup of coffee in the morning Macho, to the Macho King, to what up Mach, going WCW. Even though he's a little older, he's still over and it's still Macho Man. He's still cool, man. To the point where, he's arguably the most memorable thing of an awesome Spider-Man movie. Like Bonesaw. Like everyone loves Bonesaw because it was Macho Man. He made that character he made the quote Bonesaw is ready. Like that's the reason why that got over, was because of Macho Man. His character, flawless. He's got to be on the Mount Rushmore.
I give you that. What's interesting about that, when he first showed up on Spider-Man, I didn't realize it was him.
Really?
I was like, because when he first showed up, he was so jacked.
Yeah, true.
never
True.
seen him
Oh,
that jacked.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
was
Yeah, he was
jacked.
juice. Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
Good
and I was
night.
like, oh my God, that's Macho Man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. And other thing that's funny today is, I, no lie, bought a Slim Jim today.
Mm.
And I couldn't tell you the last time I bought one, so it's hilarious you brought him up. But I was like, I just had to have something spicy. I saw that. It had like a little Tabasco one. I was like, let me grab that.
Nice.
But right next to it, they had the Savage one, and it said
Oh,
Savage, and it had
yeah,
Macho
yeah,
Man's picture on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
here we are in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
This dude died in like 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're 14 years later, and he's still the integral part of marketing for Slim Jim.
100%.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And it was interesting how you kind of brought that up. Is you think about the most recognizable wrestlers of all time,
Mm-hmm.
outside of the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Go outside of our bubble.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at Hogan, Flair, Goldberg, Austin, and Macho Man.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows who Macho Man is because that voice and things like that. And the thing is, I think he's in that elite. So that's a nice call. Good call for that one. I'll give you that one. So here's a question though.
Mm-hmm.
Character wise, you prefer WWE Macho Man or WCW Macho Man?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say WWE, just because I really did enjoy looking back at Macho King. I just love the character dynamic between he and Sherry. Like that was, that's flawless, and to the point of bringing it to the story of him getting back with Liz and all these. It just always drums up emotions as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like Macho Man getting back with Liz, and the segment we all know of their wedding and all that.
Yeah.
That's arguably like the most vivid memories I have as a kid, as a wrestling,
Wow.
involved with wrestling. Of course, I remember watching wrestling as a kid, watching, Dusty and all that stuff. But the most vivid memory is that segment, is seeing that snake, is seeing Liz crying and all that. And that's really what made me click and say, oh man, this is for me. And that was on a Saturday morning. Matter of fact, I specifically remember a Saturday morning seeing that.
Did you ever hear the backstory between the Macho King that Lanny Poffo told recently?
No.
So I guess Randy didn't actually really want to do Macho King.
Really?
For a very specific reason. Randy had a head rolls on the smaller side, and he thought the crown would look small on him. Plus, he had worked the hair gimmick like really as part of his deal, so he was kind of conscious about that. So he accentuated with like all these other things to make it pop. But he says like, I guess Lanny has a pretty much bigger head, and they were showing like his memorabilia and stuff. Good Lord.
I had to, man. I had to. You put it out there, bro.
We could get into that one too. Oh, God bless him. God bless the genius. But yeah, I thought it was interesting how he's become like this, his brother's keeper after the fact. And I didn't know a lot of those things, so that was cool.
Interesting. So, out of lead, would you prefer WWE with the Macho King and everything else within WWE, or how he transitioned into WCW?
I mean, I'm going to be the same. I mean, hindsight's 2020 because now I've seen so many interviews and popular media that I never did as a kid because I wasn't up watching like Arsenio. I wasn't up watching like all these other things, and I just appreciate how much he was the character. He was Randy Macho Man Savage, and he wasn't apologetic about it, and he understood who he was and still worked within the confines. And if he was being interviewed on mainstream media and it was like a Regis and it was like an Arsenio, they gave him that outlet and that respect to be who he was truly. Because, our biggest knock nowadays is like you see the wrestlers go on like, they're on the 5 o'clock news or the morning, little local talk show trying to hype up the show. You don't see it as much. And it's kind of like guffawing, like, oh, you're a pro wrestler. And when I would see him on those shows, especially his WWF run, even if he's on commentary, when Vince was pretty much going to see him as like, this is it. Like, I want you at the table. He was still the man. Yeah, he was still like so over. And I was like, why is he on commentary? Like, why is he in the ring? So for me, that's still classic, but it's just that big what if, because if you remember, when he passed, he was promoting WWE All-Stars, which was this kind of like NFL Blitz style WWE game.
Right.
And that was always the path. You would get him back through the video game, and that was your outlet to get back in to the main roster. So, it's just unfortunate things. But I would have loved to see a Randy Savage in now, in that era, and just interacting, not wrestling, just doing that voice, just being Randy Savage.
He'd probably have a podcast.
Oh,
definitely.
And you'd have to really mess with those levels, Adrian, because
man, for real. So out of lead, I'm gonna come to you. So, all right, we got Macho Man. We got his head up there.
Yeah.
With the glasses and the hat, maybe the crown, depending.
Yeah.
Who do you put next to him?
I'm gonna throw somewhat of a. I thought about it, but I'm actually gonna save the one that we're gonna debate later as one that I almost borderline put here, but there's too much to project for possible future accolades for the person that I'm thinking of. So the one that it's a lock, the one that will have his moment in time is Goldust. I mean,
okay.
You have to make him part of the conversation, because here's a guy that had a very clear idea, had been through gimmicks, was living in the shadow long before his baby brother was, in the shadow of Dusty Rhodes. And you got to believe he would have loved to have just been, a version of Dusty.
Absolutely.
But here he was, 7 doesn't work, and WCW's trash. And here he is. And he's given this most ridiculous character when you look backstage and there's sketches and there's costumes because Kane went, you look back. This was a very designed character that in the hands of anybody else, it would have been like, screw this. I'll let this play out and let him have his moment,
Right.
have the moment that I tried this on, and then we'll do something else more true to my nature. But he went fully in. And if you read the backstory, he was ready to go fully in, if you know what I'm saying, and that's wild to me, that kind of commitment. But now when I was doing research for the podcast, it was that initial piece with Marlena and, and it's like a little risk, it's very risque. We've brought clips from the Conan interviews early on where Conan is just very creeped out, and Conan is like would have wrestlers on all the time, right? Conan O'Brien. But then you look back at the later years, the Booker T tag team, and that was some golden moments there. That whole run, and he always knew how to play this character down to I think there was this particular promo I was looking at where he's having a back and forth, and he dresses up like The Rock. He paints the sideburns on and the hair, but then The Rock comes into the frame. And he's playing the total, like, hilarious, like, sort of funny straight man. And Rock is giving him back and forth. And he's playing the spooked up guy, like, oh, I'm scared of The Rock. But it's so good because he knew, okay, I'm not this scary Goldust guy anymore. I am a comedy character now. I am truly a comedy character. And I'm going to play off the seriousness of Booker and kind of, the in-between of Rock. But there's so much there down to you keep going. Even the latest generation of a Goldust still has elements. He's still doing the face paint. But now it's this mesh of Dustin Rhodes,
right,
with the battle, the battle paint. Really, it's become, and probably the best wrestling he's ever done in the last few years. He got the ROH run he's having right now. So as purely a character and someone that knows reinvention. Just like all the wrestlers we over here talk about having longevity, reinvention is such the key to having success in the wrestling business. Absolutely. There's a dude down to that last run with Cody, right? They're Stardust, and he brings them with us. And what do? They have probably one of the coolest segments on WWE TV at the time when, let's be real, it was a doldrums of wrestling shows at the time. But you have Dusty Rhodes, you have Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, and you have Cody trying to shed the Stardust label, right? And they're feuding against the Authority, and of course they never let it go anywhere because whatever. But that for me is he has to be in the conversation, at least for the wrestling fans. The only litmus test that I think it doesn't pass is I don't think outside of the wrestling community much of the mainstream knows as much of who he is.
Interesting that you talked about him. He could have been the shadow of his dad. If you think about it, in the beginning, he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he was his dad. And a lot of people forget this. When his dad was in WWE with the polka dots, the end of his dad's run, he didn't wear the polka dots. And Dustin was there. He was in the crowd. And they did a couple little things, and then it just kind of fizzled. Dusty went back. Dustin went back to WCW, and then about a year or two later, he comes in as Goldust. But if you go back to the very end of that Dusty run, he didn't have on the polka dots, and it was much more of a let's see if Dustin can do this.
What was he wearing?
He was basically just Dusty.
Oh, okay.
It was just pretty much just that, It wasn't. It was more. And I'll say the very end too, like the very end, and they were kind of. I remember Bruce talking about it one time on one of his podcasts. And he said they were trying to bring Dustin in at that point.
Wow.
Yeah, it was also interesting. A little known fact that I saw one day when I just happened to be watching old footage when Steamboat was about to wrestle Flair. He did training matches on WCW Saturday Night World Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
One of his opponents was one young Dustin Reynolds.
Nice.
And they do acknowledge that it's Dusty's son.
Huh.
But he's just in there. He's just doing a training match with Ricky Steamboat. And I'm like, that's wild.
Wow, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I was a huge fan of Goldust,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but I mean, you think about it, he tried his best to recreate it, like do something else afterwards. Like you said, you mentioned Seven, and then Black Rain came in after that too.
I forgot about
And
that.
and the thing is, though, I don't think he did a bad job with Black Rain. It's just always
Mhm.
going to get compared back to
Yeah.
Goldust. So it's
That's
kind of,
fair.
Yeah.
but and he could have taken Goldust even further had they not kind of pulled the legs from under it.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
no, I agree. I like that one. That's a good call.
That's a
Good
good
call
pick.
on
Yeah,
on
man.
Goldust.
Which face paint would you put on that Rushmore?
Man, I'm gonna be straight up. I think the original one, the OG with the wig, it's got to
Oh,
be.
really? Okay.
That's boom, impressionable.
Okay.
I don't know.
I like
I
that.
like the modern one with the Darth Maul
The
deal,
Darth
but
Maul.
anyway,
Yeah.
that was cool. But yeah, that
I
one
feel that.
that one scares people. It's like what?
For sure. That original, man. That whole, you even think about what he did with Piper. That
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
that thing, like you mentioned earlier with OJ jacking up your cartoons, but the footage of that
That was
chase,
hilarious. Yeah.
He's
and
guilty
then
just because of that.
yeah, but just all of that right there, man. That Dustin, such an underrated wrestler, but underrated overall, promo
Mm-hmm.
and everything.
Yeah.
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 And to your point, you say he does his best in ring now. I would say he does his best storytelling now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that story him and Cody told,
Man, that match is still. Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, so
What
now
you
we
got?
got Macho Man up there.
Uh-huh.
We got Goldust. Now I'm going to qualify mine first.
Okay.
I stayed away from Undertaker for a reason,
Okay.
because he is what he is,
Mm-hmm.
right? I stayed away from Kane for a reason, because he is what he is. To me, those are the two greatest characters of all time, but I just had to put them over there.
I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So the one I brought is $1 Million Man,
Ah, good one.
Ted
Oh,
DiBiase.
okay.
Good one. Good one.
Huh.
Going back and even just go back and watch some of his old stuff, you're like, dude, this dude, the right gimmick, the right character at
Yeah.
the right time, the years, I mean, like going into those late 80s, early 90s, or late 80s, early 90s,
Mm-hmm.
you had that corporate greed, you had all this other stuff, and you had a lot of us against them mentality
Mm-hmm.
and the whole yuppie movement, all that kind of stuff is like, man, it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Like that gimmick was just perfect with the vignettes and they coming out, the vignettes of kicking the kids out of the pool
Yeah.
and the kids just standing at the pool looking.
Which we have reviewed on
We've
the
highlighted
podcast.
that.
Go,
Yeah.
Did
go
we
back to
review
the
that
back
before?
catalog.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The whole basketball, the kid trying to dribble the basketball, the Rob Van Dam kissing his feet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If anybody out there doesn't know,
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam as a child was one of his victims.
Nice.
Right there in the ring. Yeah, Ted DiBiase was awesome. And it's wild being here in Atlanta, having watched him get his ass beat by the Freebirds, who had beat him down so bad. I think it was 6 or 7 pile drivers, and
Jeez.
he wearing his neck brace everywhere.
Crazy.
And I know for a fact he wore it to the gym because my brother worked out at the gym he was at,
Oh wow.
and he would wear the neck brace to the gym, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Living the gimmick, man. Living the
That's
gimmick.
it.
And then all of a sudden, as a kid, I'm not gonna lie, in my brain, I justified that he was truly the $1 Million Man. Like I justified this dude came into money. He just never showed it. He was in Georgia, and he just like he's an everyday dude. He didn't want to show that he had all this money. Now he's up there. So I totally justified this gimmick in my head.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's
So,
a good call, man. That's a good call. He's one of the greatest characters of all time, and the laugh alone makes him
Yeah.
one of the goats. Like that's my notification. I don't know if I've ever gotten a text or something while we record, but that's literally his laugh
Wow.
is my notification.
That's crazy.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Ali, what are your memories of a $1 Million Man?
Honestly, a lot of the memories are later, but a lot of the memories were kind of through the podcast because I started looking at promos that I didn't realize really, or didn't maybe remember at the time. But yeah, it's that laugh, it's the swagger, it's like the believability with the $1 million belt, and then later, I mean, just the whole tie-in with Virgil, and I mean, there's the gimmick just had legs because it's like, okay, who even as a face, it's like, all right, there's this dude, he has a lot of money, but then later with IRS, it's like, nah, screw this guy. I'm like, I don't like this guy. Never mind. So yeah, it's a real fun gimmick. I'm sure that it seemed like he was having a hell of a time with it every time that he's ever done any kind of promo segment or just in ring, and then didn't like Vince give him like actual money at some point, like to look the part, basically.
They pretty much said that when he's talked about it, he was given thousands of dollars. So when he would go to a restaurant, Vince would tell him at times just pay for the whole restaurant.
Run it up.
That's crazy.
And just he was like, and they said, I think that's one of the things I loved about Bruce's early shows, especially you really get dug into some of this stuff. He said that was the character that Vince would have been if he was a wrestler.
And that's what I was going to ask.
So invested in it. Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask. If that a lot of those inspirations came from what Vince wanted to eventually become and stuff.
He said that would have been his heel persona. And later on, he said that the closest, and I've heard Vince say this too, as we talk about characters for a second, that the closest actual personality to Vince was Austin. They said because of how Vince was brought up, and that inside Vince was just a redneck. That he was just a trailer park redneck as a kid, and that was much more his mentality. But as a heel, he always wanted to be the $1 million man.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense now that you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I just love that gimmick, and it's just like, and then it did have legs, right? He would buy off people. You think about, Virgil was the perfect lackey for him.
Yeah.
And then later on, when he had his own faction, if you remember, there was a time he bought off Nikolai Volkov, and Nikolai Volkov was walking around with instead of dollar signs, he had a cent sign. So, yeah, so wild. All right, so we got 3 heads on our Mount Rushmore.
Right.
We got Macho Man, we got Dustin as Goldust, and then we got Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, holding his belt. Which, by the way, they did say they actually put a few extra real diamonds in that belt.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That was mainly all zirconias, but that they actually did put a few diamonds in there. All right. So now we gotta come up with number 4.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. I'm coming to Ali first. I have an idea who he's gonna bring.
I wonder.
Because he's throwing some hints out there. I bet I know who he's gonna bring, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see who Ali are you gonna
drum roll, please. All right. So in the metrics of pro wrestling, there's TV, there's eyeballs, there's butts in the seats, but there's one measurable that is undeniable by any person. That's merch. And the guy that I'm going to bring today is a character through and through. He fits the bill of everything we've talked about today in terms of being a Saturday morning cartoon character. Dare I say, he is the amalgamation. He is the love child of Paul Reubens, Pee Wee Herman, of Elvira, of the seasons 1 through 10 of The Simpsons, of Conan O'Brien, of Space Ghost. Of let's just put it together because these are all the influences. And when it's all said and done, and when Tony Khan gets his head out of his butt and lets this dude and frees my dude, Danhausen is going to be one of the all-time great characters in the history of pro wrestling. And these are not bold words. This is not a prediction. This is a spoiler, in the words of Paul Heyman. Because if you look, this dude has not been on TV since 2023, realistically, because he likes to hang out with CM Punk. And if you look at Pro Wrestling Tee's top sellers, merch sellers in 2024, he is the only one in the top 3 that was not kind of this star or this established star. Number 1 was Sting, and we all know Sting is an established star. Number 2 was Ospreay, and he was 3. For the years prior to that, he was consistently the 1 or 2 top seller in that. And that's now that Pro Wrestling Tees has opened up and it's not just independents, that's a pretty high bar. And you have to believe that WWE, knowing what we know about how they do metrics, isn't just salivating at seeing this dude and saying, we know how to do characters. We know how to do Penta. We know how to do Mr. Iguana. We know how to do, back in the day, Santino. This dude is also a marketing genius. I'm looking for clips to bring, and I will share, if we have some time here, but San Diego Comic-Con, this dude hasn't been on TV. Who does Hasbro feature as their only pro wrestler when they're reviewing the latest action figures? The Marvel action figure. We're talking about X-Men. We're talking about X-Men being renewed as in the MCU and this whole thing. They're releasing a new action figure of Mephisto, Hasbro, Marvel Legends, the biggest company in the world for action figures. And they have Danhausen as part of a 3-panel thing. The only 2 dudes are the designers. And they bring him because he knows he's an action figure guy. Because that was his vlog. He loves toys. He loves unboxing. Okay. He loves it. So this dude this guy, for me, for my money, is probably one of the smartest businessmen, this side of like a Colt Cabana, of a Young Bucks, of hell, even a CM Punk, because like you think about like DIY things, he has a vision. He has a true sense of who his character is. And like I said, it just hasn't happened the way he is. And he doesn't need to wrestle. That's the beautiful thing of it all.
Right.
He's not, I don't look for him for like a 5-star match. I don't care. I see him purely as a character. And by definition, like I said, he belongs there, not today, not tomorrow, but in 10 years when it's all said and done. And he has that run in WWE, you best believe he's going to be up in that Rushmore.
That's a good nomination, man. I didn't know he did that panel. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Hasbro has nothing to do with AEW, so this is
right?
off of him.
This is all him because he's actually friendly with some of one of the designers actually just got let go from Hasbro. Okay. They did cuts, but yeah, he's been on there and he's in the toy game. I mean, Cardona and Myers is now they have their own wrestling, not just their figures. They're doing just figures in general. They got a contract with Jean-Claude Van Damme. They got a contract with Sylvester Stallone for Rambo. Guys are working,
man. They got a partnership with Major League Baseball.
There you go. Recently. Exactly for the mascots. So who was there since day one? It was Danhausen because he knew the marketing abilities. He's trademarked his face makeup. Nobody can take that anymore. He's trademarked his name and it's his real name. But this dude, for me, he's a freaking genius. He's a freaking genius at what he does. It's just unfortunate with this damn contract situation where like he's just handcuffed as to what he can do.
Yeah, I'm cheering for him, man. Much like you, I'm a huge fan of Danhausen. Like at first, I didn't get it, but I saw it. I was like, okay, he's interesting. And after a couple conversations with you, I've even messaged you or text you like, yo, man, explain Danhausen to me because, and you put it together like you said. Pee Wee Herman, Elvira, all of those inspirations, late night television. Like he's one of us. Like he's maybe a little older than us, but probably not by much. But
he's actually younger than us.
Is he?
He's younger.
Okay.
He's Ethan Page. His age, which is funny because him and Ethan Page would do a lot of co-promotion with each other's vlogs.
Gotcha.
Pre-AEW. And it's interesting because now Ethan Page is, he's very, very, very nice in his vlogs and everything. But Now he's pared it back because he's doing the heel character now, and it works. But it's funny because if you meet Danhausen in person, he'll only play up the character and do the voice for one type of fan. Do you want to guess who?
What? Who?
Children.
Okay, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
If a grown ass man like me walks up, he's talking to you as himself, which is jarring because you expect the voice.
Right.
It's like, oh, thanks for coming.
Well, that's I can see that.
He knows
I can
his
see
audience.
that. Yeah, I can see that. Because we're gonna be happy meeting them anyway.
We get it.
But
right?
if my kid is right there, he's gonna put it over the top for them. Like he's already selling himself to the next generation.
Exactly.
So yeah, I feel that. I like that. All right, Greg, are you going or am I going?
I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. All right, cool. So I love the Danhausen nomination out of lead. But my guy that I'm going to put up there, this is one of the greatest characters of pro wrestling history, not because he was cartoonish, not because he's the most intimidating guy, but because he seemed so real and he was so real. It is almost a when keeping it real goes wrong event over and over and over again. Rest in peace to him. I'm putting New Jack as my nomination, gentlemen. I'm putting New Jack.
Strong pick.
The man lived his character for better or for worse. We've all seen the dark side of the ring. We've all remember his ECW days. I don't know if y'all ever got a chance to listen to his podcast, but it only lasted 4 or 5 episodes, and it was for good reason. The man lived on the edge. He was unhinged, and that's even before he gets into the ring. Multiple promos, multiple examples of this man who is just willing to put everything on the line to make some money. He didn't really care about titles, didn't care about any of that stuff. He just wanted to get paid, and he kept it real. And he always used to piss people off, especially that Smoky Mountain promo. I even picked a different promo, but we all know the Smoky Mountain promo because it's still to this day one of the most hilarious things ever. I shared it with a family member just this past week because we both were laughing about how ridiculous this man is in Tennessee or whatnot, with a whole bunch of rednecks talking his talk. But New Jack is one of the most unique characters. Like I said, it's not an outlandish character in the cartoonish sense, but he just lived unhinged. You could tell something was really off with this person. And that's why I'm putting him as that's why I'm nominating ECW legend New Jack.
I think it's a perfect pick. And you're the one who kind of put me on game to this, but isn't it jarring that he's in the WWE game now?
Right. It's crazy.
It's like,
just think
that doesn't fit.
In fact, that's what made me share that promo, because my cousin sent me something like, "Hey, do you remember him or whatnot?" And he was talking so highly of New Jack, and I was like, "Yeah, I remember him." But I was like, "Yo, do you remember this?" And he was like, "Oh, I never." And we were just laughing for hours about that. Just like this dude would say whatever the fuck is going on in his head, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting pick. Pick. I guess I don't look at him as a character because I just feel like he was him.
Yeah,
and that's the way I look at Flair. Like I don't look at Flair as a character because that's just Flair. But fair. No, it's an interesting pick. A good pick though. I got some stories I can tell you guys about New Jack off the podcast.
Thanks.
But that's an interesting pick. I will say that one of the cool stories I did hear one time, this post ECW, I think, him and Dreamer were wrestling each other. And, everybody's just waiting, Innovator of Violence versus New Jack, right? And they went out there and had a total technical wrestling match.
Oh man, really?
Dang.
They did it on purpose. I've listened to Dreamer talk about it. He talked about, I think they got to their, Goo Goo and Gaga later, but
Hmm.
they went out there. I'm talking like headlock, drop toe holds, wrist locks, chain wrestling,
That's
just to
crazy.
show people they could do it. And I'm like,
Mm,
that is hilarious.
yeah, yeah, for
Like,
sure.
of the two people who you just would not expect,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And if you didn't know, New Jack got it started right here in Alpharetta. Like, that's where he trained
Nice.
at North Georgia Wrestling. Under old Sammy Kent. But yeah, that's a wild one. That's a wild one.
Mm.
So that's a good pick. That's a good pick. So interesting that you two very different characters so far,
Oh, very
Danhausen and
different.
New
Yeah,
Jack.
very different. Very different.
What's interesting, we'll get to mine in a second, but I just wanted to kind of throw some other names at y'all and kind of get some reactions. Like Repo Man. When y'all
Mm.
first saw Repo
Yeah.
Man, whether it was live or you learned about it later, what was your reaction to Repo Man?
Man, what a just a great like time capsule of like
Yeah.
the gimmicks, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
here's a job. All right, you're this is your profession. Now go make
Right.
it work.
Yeah. I just remember his voice. I definitely remember him
Yeah.
as a kid. His voice is gimmick. He was annoying, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
purposely so. So well done
Mhm.
to him for that. Yeah.
And interesting that was a smash. So,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
It's
Crusher
insane.
Khrushchev at that.
Insane.
The Goon.
Oh
Shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like what Adelaide said. It brings you back to that era of just some wild gimmicks. A lot of occupation based
Yeah.
gimmicks
Oh yeah.
that's very weird
Oh
on
yeah.
a socio dynamic just thinking about
Here
these things,
here locally we had a guy who this was his legit job. I actually met him at the gym. So this is
Okay.
no lie. His legit name was John Michaels, not Sean, but John.
Hmm.
But I met him at the gym, but he was already a wrestler. But then he went and turned into a gimmick. He became the Bug Man,
Okay.
and he was an exterminator.
Nice.
And that
Oh,
was
that's
his
kind of
legit
cool.
job.
Yeah.
That's kind of
But what
dope.
he would do is he'd bring his little thing out there and spray people in the face with it. So it was like, I was like, that's beautiful. And you think about it, right? You had Rick Martel spraying people with
Right.
perfume and stuff like that. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that was beautiful.
That's
Um,
perfect.
Other ones I had like that I came close to putting on here kind of relates to New Jack is Abdullah. I came so
Mhm.
close to putting
Abby?
him on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fact. Yeah.
He scared me so bad as a kid. And I know I've told you guys this before, but I fast forward to an adult and I'm sitting there in his restaurant talking to him, and there's
Mhm.
times I'm having conversations and I would zone out. Like I'm like sitting here with Abdullah. Like
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
legit in the Omni in Atlanta ran from this dude, and I'm here sitting here eating ribs at his restaurant talking to him. This is crazy.
And his voice is
Um,
so unimposing, like
so different than you expect it to be.
right.
What about Kamala?
Oh man. No, I mean, what else can you say about characters, man? Like what first and foremost, just off visuals, when you're talking about okay, who has some of the most interesting visuals of pro wrestling, he's definitely one of them. He has to be one of
Mhm.
those guys. Character base wise, I just remember and love when he was afraid of things like what lightning, of
The
Taker,
snake.
snakes. That's what it was. Exactly. That's what it was. It's one of those deals where that's pure character work. It's pure
Mhm.
character work and a great example of a character in pro wrestling.
Or who do I have? Then I had some funny ones. I don't know if you guys remember Arachnaman,
No, from where?
Mm-mm.
straight Spider-Man ripoff in WCW,
Oh, is that right?
Oh wow. Okay.
Dang.
I have
and
to
that was
look
one
him
Brad
up.
Armstrong
Oh really? Wow.
under a
Okay.
mask. Yep.
Wow.
Uh, then of course, I mean, to me, and I understand. I love hearing Eric Bischoff talk about this. He said he was a couple years too late when he put these together. but like Mortis and
Oh yeah,
Glacier.
Oh yeah.
True. Yeah. Glacier would have been a good choice to at least nominate.
Totally.
Because
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But all right, so my one of my favorites, not really favorites, but one I wanna nominate maybe is the ECW Zombie. Not really. I will say when he came out that first match when they reboot ACW,
Right.
I crashed out. Like I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Kill this promotion right now.
Right.
First match, this is what we're bringing out. I'm like,
Yeah.
you gotta be kidding me. But
Thanks,
now
Vince. Thank you for that.
my character that I'm bringing out is Mankind.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because I
Really
look
good
at the
one.
diversity of Mankind. I'm not looking at Foley.
Right.
Right.
looking at
Right.
that dude.
Boiler Room
not even Cactus
Mankind.
Jack,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
Mankind.
Yeah.
The crazy to the corporate. I mean, what was to me that was one of the greatest characters of all time. Whether it was a little bit of the comedy, but even just that first version of Mankind was so different.
Mm-hmm.
The way he was in the dungeons, ripping out his hair. I think those are some of the best promos of all time.
Oh
For sure.
yeah.
Just the
Yeah.
delivery was different. The subject was different. Everything about that character was just. It had some realism. It had the mental health piece into it. I mean,
Right.
obviously that wasn't a buzzword
Yeah.
at the time,
Right.
but you knew the dude was a little bit off.
Right.
And then it didn't hurt that they put him right into a program with Taker where he could feed off of that.
Yeah.
But to me, I have a hard time putting not having Mankind on that Rushmore.
That's a really good nomination. That's
Yeah.
a really good. Yeah. That's one of our favorite. All three of us, we've marked out on past episodes about this guy. So he's definitely a cheat code in character work, and you bring up a very good point and argument with Mankind, because you can say Mick Foley has so many. I mean, his three main iterations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can argue the same for just Mankind, and that's very unique. And that's one of those cheat codes, man, where you can work funny, you can work, serious, crazy, random
sadistic.
Hill. Yeah, right, exactly. And you can go baby face, like when he won the championship, that sort of thing. Like, like we're all behind him, pulling for him for reasons, like, man, yeah, he's plenty of range.
But you talk about that, right? I mean, let's not gloss over the fact that he plays if not a pivotal role, at least a representational role in shifting the tide of WWE, at least presenting it where it's like, who's going to click over? Because let's be real, everybody was watching both for the most part. There was, they were your diehards, but most of us were like, just hell, it's like, this is fun. WCW versus WWF. And here he is, a dude who, by all accounts, shouldn't, right? Visually, at least. But going back to Greg, it's pure character work.
Yep.
It's purely buying into like the acting within the the concepts of pro wrestling. But it's cool because he was a scary dude when it was just like backstage and the first initial misgivings. But it's funny how he evolves to being the people's sweetheart, really.
Right, exactly.
And that's hilarious because that just I don't know. It was a really organic the way it happened, really.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we got to talk about these three.
I'm gonna back out. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you.
I know. It's
I love New Jack. I love New Jack. That's my guy, hands down, 100%. And that's the reason why I wanted to save Macho in there.
Right.
I wanted the backdoor New Jack in there. I wanted to say, no, New Jack's in there. Screw you guys. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna play it nice, and I'm gonna do Macho. Yeah. I'm gonna throw my guy. Me and New Jack will sit back and hear your 2 points. That's what I can say.
as much as I love Danhausen, and I'm gonna root for him until that dude's probably old and decrepit. Foley, man, I've gotten out of my way to meet Foley because it's one of those things where, like, don't meet your heroes type thing. I wanted to meet that dude, and by every measure, I love the dude for just being a wordsmith. I mean, just intellectually, but what a great guy! What a great guy to just be such a wonderful storyteller. I saw him at his one man show, and he talks about he talks about mankind. He talks about the whole thing is like the hilarious thing with Hell in a Cell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we didn't even get into that about that iteration of like mankind, and that lives its own existence, right? And it has like its own little pocket universe, that whole match. But the fact that not only does he have this lived experience, but if you read the later books, it's like he has a very clear history of like how everything comes to be. And to understand that it's so cool to, we always talk about, Greg, you've mentioned like looking at behind the scenes. We talk about WWE Unreal, but like even like Star Wars documentaries, and he's his own historian for his own gimmicks and his own life, really, through the autobiography. And for me, that's so invaluable because he set a blueprint for so many other wrestlers. More recently, who talks about him as being like his biggest influence is Becky Lynch. Is like she lived out the other stuff, but it was Mankind. It was Mick Foley who said like, I think I can do that. I'm not the biggest and strongest, but I think I can do that character work. It's dead air because there's no argument right now.
I was waiting for.
I think what's interesting about it is like it's hard to argue, right?
Yeah.
It's not one.
Yeah.
And it was crazy is I think that Foley's so underrated.
Still, right?
He's that victim of he's Kobe. And here's what I mean. When we talk about the greatest of all times, we talk about Jordan and LeBron. Kobe got caught in that middle. He got caught in the end of Jordan, the beginning of LeBron, and he was right there in the middle. And sometimes we don't appreciate what he brought to the game because of what he was around. And that's Foley. Foley had Austin, Rock, on the other channel, Goldberg, and the NWO and DX. All this stuff happening at the same time. And he is such an important, integral part of all of that. But because he was caught in with everybody else and unassuming, he wasn't that person that was the face, quote unquote,
Right.
baby face either. He wasn't that person. He kind of gets overlooked. And he shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I mean, you could argue that he's one of the top of all time. And to your point, he was an integral part of turning that company around.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, without him, Taker had all those crappy feuds with so many different people, but one of his greatest feuds of all time was with Mankind.
Absolutely.
Austin too.
Yeah.
Triple H too.
Yep.
A Rock as well. So you think about it, some of their best feuds were all with Mankind.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
The character Mankind, not just Foley, but the character Mankind.
Right.
So it's all right, cool.
So are we all in agreement that it's Mankind? Okay, I was looking forward to a little back and forth, but I feel it.
I'll seed the field.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Our Rushmore is Goldust, Macho Man Randy Savage, Mankind, and the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Nice. That's a good list.
So
if I was building a company, I would not argue with having all those on my roster.
Man,
that's yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That's a
That's
money
a good
company.
list. That's a good list, man. Those are
good
definitely
list.
some of the great characters. And I'm glad that you didn't just put Taker in there,
right?
Even though Taker is
or Kane, right?
Right.
I mean, it's hard to argue from a character standpoint. Those aren't the two greatest.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just hard to argue, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to stay away from those two and kind of go down different paths.
For
but
sure.
So, listeners, watchers, viewers, who is your Rushmore? Who's the greatest character that you ever saw? Or who do you think we missed? I mean, there's a lot of honorable mentions out there. There's others in
Definitely.
other companies that we could have brought up. I mean, one of my honorable mentions was Abyss. I think he
Yeah.
is underrated. There's so many of them out there, but put in the comments down there. Let us know who you think who should have been on this Mount Rushmore, or who's on your Mount Rushmore,
Mm.
and make sure you tune in each and every week right here to Talk 'em in the building. Talk about our Mount Rushmores. We talk about the promos, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. You know the drill. You do it with everybody else. Do it with us.
definitely.
So for Adelaide in LA, for Adrian, who's prepared to go watch college football all weekend,
Oh yeah.
and then for myself, we will see you on the flip side. Thank you again for watching Talk 'em in the building.
Free Danhausen.